initial validation of Indiegogo, Kickstarter, and get a few initial products sold, right? And that's easy to be built as well. But what happens after that when you go big, when you get into retail, whether you get like contracts from Walmart or Target or Radio Shack or whatever, whoever's distributing it, to produce at scale, you need to pay the factories up front, or you need to pay the factories first. And even all the buying contracts, like they would pay you in advance to buy the products, but especially if they're big American retailers, they would have a clause to sell back the inventory they don't sell after X amount of time. So in a way, it's actually consignment. So it's actually accounted in your books as though it's a liability, it's not actually revenue. And so that's where you get a chasm of funding issues. And for almost all of the hardware investments we've done, a lot of them in the US and in Singapore, one CreoPop, right, is a 3D Magic Pen, and a lot of other 3D printer in the pen and other things, right, they have to survive that. And surviving that, that's where the trickier part comes for hardware. I think the initial part's quite easy, but then the second part, once you really succeed, then that's where things get a bit trickier. So how do you secure financing for production? If you go back to the VCs for more money, they're not financing manufacturing type of money, and you'll be liquidating your own shares in the company just for cash flow to finance manufacturing. That's a bit of an issue. So I thought I'd just share that learning lesson that we have with a lot of you.
Just to quickly add on to that, I think it's also limited by our own sophistication as investors in the hardware space. We invest a lot less in hardware and a lot more in, well, software, internet companies in general. So as you keep investing in that space, you get more proficient at it, and you invest less in hardware, and you're less and less familiar with the developments in the ecosystem. So I think part of it, quite honestly, has to do with that as well.
There may be a lot of more sophisticated specialist hardware investors who can help you with financing, manufacturing. I know some folks at Brink.io out of Hong Kong. They're great, and so there are a couple of folks which are more specialized in it. There's a Malaysian one as well who only does hardware as well, and then they've gone in on CreoPop and others as well. So there are a lot of specialist hardware ones. You should try and shop it around to them. That being said, we have invested in MakerBot. It's a 3D printer that sold to Stratsys for 400 million. We had a lot of hardware success as well. So we're not avoiding it completely, but we come with that approach, right? And we'll talk to founders with that approach.
Questions? Yeah.
Good to see you again, bro.
Yeah, nice to see you again. My name is Faris. I just had a question about, because Fire Startups invest in thousands of startups around the world. Is there a way that you manage startups that seem to maybe overlap or compete with each other? And because some VCs, they do, once they've invested in something that's similar, they want to invest again. But this Fire Startups have a different approach.
It's quite simple. We don't do direct same market, same models. But over here, even if you invested in 5 companies, there's a very big chance they may pivot into each other's things. I remember there was a case on email where we had 2 companies pivot into the same space at the same time. Directly, so we're like, okay, well, they look really different when we invested in them, right? So, but we wouldn't, let's say you're doing something that's directly conflicting with Imatic in Singapore, based in Singapore, I think it'd be very difficult for you to convince us why we should be backing you versus continuing with Imatic. I think that's a very difficult case to support. But otherwise, if it's similar-ish model, different market, we would do it, and I think that's okay as well.
You had a question?
I'll just add on very quickly to say this, a lot of startups would approach us for investment who would say that, right now I'm in Singapore, but even though it's September, by December I'm going to be in 5 other markets. And we may already have investments in those markets. Or the converse may be true, where we've invested in a company that says that they're operating in Malaysia, and we make a similar investment in exactly what it is they're doing in Vietnam. And we say, hey, by the way, we're making this investment, and they're like, whoa, 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 I'm going to be in Vietnam next month. And we said, we know nothing about this. This wasn't part of your plan. And he's like, no, I'm going to be going in Vietnam, I'm going to be going to Indonesia, so please don't invest in these models in any of these markets.
And then there are companies who say they're going to do it, and they don't actually do it, right? So what are we going to do, right?
So we will not listen to companies who are saying that they are chopping markets for future expansion, but we will not invest in direct competitors. Yeah, that's it.
I think we have time for...
We have a 4:30 meeting, now it's 5:30, right?
2 more questions? Yeah, one here. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Dennis.
Hi, Dennis.
A question for Kylie. So you were previously a founder of a company and then you transited to VCs. Could you share with us about these transitions and on a hindsight looking back, how would you have run your company differently?
I think you always have a lot of these hindsight lessons, you know, and the only way to channel that energy very positively is to future companies and other companies into the future, right? And so I can go on and on and on about all this stuff, you know, but it's primarily speaking, like creating a company today is very different from creating a company 5 years ago when I was creating companies. So today there's a lot of funding that's available, there's a lot more common knowledge, there are very common distribution platforms, there's like network of peer support. It's a very, very different world, you know, so not all of this is entirely applicable as well. So the transition to investing has been a bit more natural for me because I get a bit of both, you know. I get to spend time building 500 as an organization, working like an operator, and at the same time also I get to kind of shape the way 500 invests, you know, so I think it's very, very natural for me to be doing what I'm doing now.
Okay, perhaps one last question at the back. Yeah. Yeah, that's you.
This is for Vishal and Kylie.
So sorry.
Either or.
Okay, yeah, please.
Yeah, you mentioned that you invested in Carousell in 25 minutes. Doesn't know what do you hear from them? Maybe decide so quickly.
Yeah, they're downstairs, so you can talk to them.
Is it a KPI?
They're upstairs actually.
Oh, they're upstairs, sorry. Yeah, I mean like a lot of times if you know what you're already going to look for, like certain business models that you really want to invest in, then you find the right team who's executing it with a lot of evidence that they're executing very well, then it becomes a very easy and fast decision. And for Carousell, it was that case. I think mobile marketplaces was an eventuality. Like it's eventually people are going to use that. Like there's no doubt about it. And the fact that they just spent 7 months and they got 1 million listings in Singapore at the time. It's a real testament to the execution ability. And you can wait another 5 years and you're going to find another team and timing of everything that works very well. So it's very specific to Carousell. That was very quickly. I don't make that many 25-minute decisions. You know, I try to give it a bit of time to sit. You know, maybe like 30 minutes. You know. Yeah, you do.
Yeah, we're supposed to meet with we just realized we were supposed to have a meeting with someone at 4:30 over here.
But they're here, maybe in this room.
Are you guys here by any chance?
Michael
and Jason? Is that Michael and
Michael
Jason
Young.
up here? No, I don't think so. Okay, they're
outside. Oh, okay, we gotta go.
Awesome.
Awesome, yeah, but that's
Hey, I'm so sorry.
sorry.
This took a lot longer than expected. Anyway.
Yeah, so that's it for this edition's Complete Chat. Thanks for joining us. So can we have a round of applause for the panelists?
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm just going to write down the email address here if you guys want to pitch.
And actually, before you leave, to continue the conversation online, Tech in Asia is having an online pitch with 500 startups on their website. It's on 11th November, am I right? Yep, at 2:30 p.m. So you can continue pitching with them or asking questions on the Facebook page, Twitter, Facebook, you know. Enjoy! Thank you for coming.